So this set is actually a GC-FID, right? GC-FID. Okay, so for the first step, for the first stage is to introduce the components, right? Major components. So one is the GC unit itself. Alright, so in the GC set, you'll have the oven, right? This is the heating oven, and in the oven we'll have this capillary column. This is a capillary column, and then on top here you'll have this injection port, right? And we'll have the detector here. Alright, so this is the basic setup of a GC-FID. Alright. And basically basically we have two types of column. One is capillary column, fine capillary column. Another one is stainless steel tube column. Right, there's another one which is glass column, and then we need an injector. This is the injector here for introducing the samples into the column. So this unit is the flame ionization detector. So what we have in flame ionization detector is we have air supply, which is pumped by the natural air pump. And then we have hydrogen gas, okay, hydrogen gas, and it is the function for this one is to ionize, to produce Flam and to ionize the sample. All right, done. Next is the capillary column. Capillary column is one of the most common capillary that we use. Right, so in a capillary column, this is the diagram for a normal capillary column. We have the stationary phase layer at the outer, and then the middle part is the fused silica, okay, and we have polyamide coating, okay, the inner layer. And splitless. For the split and splitless injection system, so we will inject the samples approximately 1 microliter, okay, into this injector port, in which it will be carried with the carrier gas with the samples into the capillary column there. Alright, if it is splitless, the amount of the sample will be split into volumes that is being set, okay, in our setting system. The residual will be sent to vent system of the oven. Right? The technique to take sample using syringe, okay, micro syringe. So this is a syringe here, micro syringe, which is about 10 microliter. Right? So we only need 1 microliter for GC, but before we inject the sample into the syringe, into the sampling pot, we have to rinse it at least 3 times. So the first step will be rinsing. Make sure it's full. Take 10 microliter and then discard it. And the second one. The third one. Right. And then the fourth one. So the fourth will be our sample. So make sure we only introduce 1 microliter. Make sure there's no bubble in the system. We need to remove the bubble, and then 1 microliter. Right? This is the setting for the GC, the basic setting. Right? For this particular method, we are using sample. The temperature here is 300 degrees Celsius. Right? For the sample injector port. Right? And then the column injection. And the injection mode is split, where only 50 ratio, 50% ratio split injector speed. Alright. Next is the flow rate is 1.3. Alright. Then next is the column setting. The column setting, the initial temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, and we will hold 40 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes, and then it will start heating up with the increment of 5 degrees Celsius per minute. And then the maximum temperature that we set here is 150 degrees Celsius, and when we reach at 550 degrees Celsius, we will maintain the temperature for 150 for 5 minutes. Right. The total analysis time is approximately 32-33 minutes. Right. So next is the setting for the Flam ionization detector, or FID. Right. The temperature that we have set here is 310 degrees Celsius. Okay. Before we start our sample, we need to record all the details. Right. So we need to click start single run here. And then we need to fill in all the details of our sample, the sample name, the sample ID. Sample name, example, sample 1, and ID. Right. Okay. So we will use the method that we select, and the software depends on each GC model will have different software. So for this one, we will import method class GC, and then the data is being stored in data class GC and so on. Right. Okay, for this particular GC model, it is a manual start. So soon after we inject the sample, we have to push the button start. So